Um, where to begin? Kitchen sink curry is a meal that I prepare sometimes, and it's basically just a whole bunch of everything thrown into the pot so things don't go to waste, and I make a nice Thai curry out of it. I call it kitchen sink curry, and we're gonna have a kitchen sink conversation today. It's gonna be all over the place. There's a bunch of stuff to discuss, and a kitchen sink conversation is in order. We have this coronavirus going on. We have people just going off the charts with concerns for things that are not directly impacting them. It's very interesting to me. Up here in Alaska, we have no shortages. There's a lack of toilet paper, effectively. Certainly a lack of toilet paper in the stores, but everybody's got it in their houses. Everybody's got it at every establishment that I've been to. I drive around all day long, going from facility to facility and seeing what's going on. Certainly, it has become a ghost town here with all the regulations that are going on. It is interesting in that capacity. I am not afraid of the coronavirus. I am highly concerned about the reaction to said coronavirus, though. This is intriguing to me and concerning with the background that I have. And I'm going to throw this out there, folks, because I think this is the time and the place. I want you to start considering that World War III has started. It's just not what you would think. I know there's a lot of SSP folks out there that can consider that weapons of warfare might not be what people have considered. You folks are thinking about bullets and bombs, and technology has gone way beyond that. It's a whole new level. The idea of what's going on in our nation right now being effective against a supposed disease we're being presented is a thin story. But if we look at what's being presented, what's actually going on around us right now, if we are to remove certain details, such as the title of the problem just simply being a virus, let's just remove that from the conversation and look what's going on around us. The rules that are changing, the regulations that are changing, aren't very disease oriented. Directed energy weapons cannot be seen. A lot of people debate whether they exist or not. I'm not going to have that debate. The technology is available. The question is whether or not people would consider to utilize it. But with that being said, in the use of directed energy weapons, since this is an invisible item, it's not a bullet, it's not a bomb, it's not a fire, it doesn't really leave the aftermath that we're familiar with contemporarily in the throes of war. Study directed energy weapons. Look up the work of folks like Dr. James Giordano. I'll put a link in there. Very expert level information on neuro weapons, their application, and the levels to which our government and many other governments around the world have been studying the practical applications of their usages. So it's not that this is even a new topic. It's a known topic for many decades. The technology exists. It's known. Neuroweapons as a science are very referenceable. The question is whether they're being applied. Well, we can look around at the nation now and more or less answer that question. We're in a general quarters state of readiness, and that's not an accident. Everybody's being sent to their homes. That would be your general quarters, both figuratively and literally. This is a common tactic. Don't forget that the president is the commander in chief. And when at war, he has a hat to wear. If directed energy weapons were being utilized, you and I would not see this. And the vast majority of folks are not aware of the fallout from being impacted by directed energy weapons. Do the research. It turns out when cellular damage occurs from certain types of outside influences, the aftermath could and would be a virus. That a damaged cell is simply just ejecting this waste, in one way of putting it, which is a virus. So the virus, for all practical purposes, is considered a after result of another event, a directed energy assault. Studies have also shown, I'll try to link those as well, that in the history of our inhabiting this planet, recently as 1918, 1968, I believe, when certain energy sciences came online, we also had some very serious medical effects throughout humanity. Lest we forget what our composition is, who we are, and how we function, we're not just material. We have an energy about us. And as we manipulate the energetic environment around us, that also has an impact. This has been known for a very long time, since ancient times. Contemporarily, the governments of the world have been delving in the study of said sciences and have created a very effective arsenal in this capacity. The question again, would someone use these? General quarters, the position that we're in right now, should be considered as an indicator. Put yourself in the shoes of the commander-in-chief. If a foreign nation was to attack us in a directed energies weapons capacity, the impact would be a health issue for certain. By any definition, it would cause the demise of the health of the people that the weapon was fired upon. Now, we can get into all kinds of debates as to what those symptoms would be, but that would just be a battle of semantics and really a waste of time. So let's just understand that in the future, or now, directed energy weapons will be applied to personnel, and there will be a health impact. How would a commander-in-chief, especially in a circumstance when it's an original assault, without any precedent, deal with such things? And a general quarters call would be a very, very good call. Everybody running around the country, all over the place, showing the signs for what those in the know would be a directed energies weapon assault, would have a very hard time figuring out who it came from, how it came from, where it came from, what it came from, if people kept moving around. So, I'm going to suggest that it would be standard operating procedure step number 1. If you found yourself in the first ever directed energy weapons attack on your nation, have everybody go home as fast as possible and stay still. It's only at that point that you can actually do an effective damage control assessment. Where have you been fired upon? From what direction? Who's been impacted? What's the strength? These are all very fair questions. But there has to be a methodology. There has to be a system applied. Governments love systems. Militaries love systems. Commanders love systems. Information is knowledge. Knowledge is power. And power leads to the strong hand. This is what's going on right now, folks. The technology exists. You may or may not be aware of it. People evil enough to utilize these technologies exist. You may not be aware of it. This is stuff that you need to consider. That maybe the world is bigger than you thought, that timelines are longer than you thought, that players have bigger plans than you thought, and that what you've been presented at face value will certainly prove to be of less value to you after you do due diligence and investigate these topics on your own. Please do so. I will provide some links. I hope that you look into this stuff. Study directed energy weapons, study their effects, study their impacts, study how they're applied. Study the people that have been releasing information on this, such as Dr. James Giordano, such as Bruce Duncan is an insider who worked on these projects and is a whistleblower now. I'll try to put up links for him as well. Pay attention to what's going on. Things are not what they seem. Please stop taking things at face value and do due diligence to not take the information presented to you. Find out what's going on. Pay attention to what's actually impacting your life directly and not just things that are charades. It's getting crazy out there. The stories that I'm hearing from people, the belief systems that folks are formulating without any challenges. They're just taking information that's being presented to them, and it is as good as gold. So please be careful.